Dear friends, brothers and sisters, it's Good Friday night, a time that we remember the sacrifice that Jesus paid that we might know him, that we might be called the sons of God. I wanted to spend just a few minutes with you for us to take this time together to remember what Jesus has done. Listen to these words from the Gospel of Mark. And when the 6th hour had come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? And some of the bystanders hearing it said, Behold, he is calling Elijah. And someone ran and filled the sponge with some sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink, saying, Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come and take him down. And Jesus uttered a loud cry and breathed his last. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And when the centurion who stood facing him saw that in this way he breathed his last, he said, Truly, this man was the Son of God. There were also women looking on from a distance, among whom were Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James the younger and of Joseph, and Salome. When he was in Galilee, they had followed him and ministered to him. And there were also many other women who came up with him to Jerusalem. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me? Perhaps some of the most tragic and yet hope-filled words in the Bible, for they purchased our salvation. You may know that phrase, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, comes from Psalm chapter 22. The first verse says this, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groaning? This was Jesus at the point of his death when he feels the separation from the Father in order that we might be purchased for God, that we might be his children and come to know him in a real and personal way. You know, I want us to look at this psalm because I was taught that when a person invokes a certain portion of a psalm, that they are really talking about the whole psalm being true, being applicable. And that's what I want us to talk about for just a few minutes tonight. Because if you'll take some time to read Psalm 22, you'll find that Jesus' cry, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, was not a cry of despair and dejection, but it was a statement of faith that the Father would accomplish exactly what he had said he would all those years ago when sin entered the world in the garden. Let's look at some of these verses. In verse 6 to 8 of this chapter, the psalmist wrote, But I am a worm and not a man, scorned by mankind and despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They make mouth at me. They wag their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Let him rescue him, for he delights in him. Surely we can hear the words of the angry, spiteful crowd mocking Jesus and daring him to call on the angels to come and release him. But you know, further on, Jesus could also have said these very words, I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax, it is melted within my breast. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to my jaws. You lay me in the dust of death. for dogs encompass me. A company of evildoers encircles me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They stare and gloat over me. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Do you hear the story of the crucifixion in those words? Jesus' rejection by the crowds, the dividing of his garment, and the gambling over it, that his suffering, and yet that not one of his bones was broken. Further on in verse 22 of this chapter, I will tell of your name to my brothers. In the midst of the congregation, I will praise you. You who fear the Lord, praise him. All of you offspring of Jacob, glorify him and stand in awe of him, all you offspring of Israel. For he has not despised or abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, and he has not hidden his face from him, but has heard when he cried to him. Jesus knew that his Father did hear him, and that in those moments of their separation, that a salvation was being purchased that would go on forever, that for the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross and he despised its shame. Jesus declares, he tells of the name of God to all of his children, his brothers and sisters. You who fear the Lord, praise him. Yes, let's praise him in the middle of this dark night. Praise him because he has not despised or abhorred the affliction of the afflicted. Whatever struggle you're going through today, Jesus knows it fully well. He understands the depth of your sorrow or confusion. He knows the way out for you. He is a high priest that is touched with the feeling of our infirmities. He has not despised your affliction, and he has not hidden his face from you. Further down in this chapter, verse 27, all the ends of the earth shall remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations shall worship before you. That's the joy that Jesus saw before him, that we would one day be able to worship every tribe and tongue and nation, glorifying the name of God, experiencing his love, and knowing him. For kingship belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. All the prosperous of the earth eat and worship. Before him shall bow down all who go down to the dust, even the one who could not keep himself alive. Posterity shall serve him. It shall be told of the Lord to the coming generations. They shall come and proclaim his righteousness to a people yet unborn, that he has done it. Tonight we remember his suffering, his agony, but we can say with Jesus, it is finished. In the words of the psalmist of Psalm 22, he has done it. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, but he washed it white as snow. Let's sing this song together